So, jetzt aber einen herzlichen guten Morgen zum Exertis Pro AV Frühstücksfernsehen. Mein Name ist Matthias Fuchs. Ich bin zuständig für NewTek und für noch ein paar andere Sachen und wir sprechen heute im Besonderen über die neue CaptureCast-Lösung von NewTek. Das Ganze sieht so aus. Es ist eine IP-based Lecture Capture Lösung von NewTek. Der Begriff Micro Broadcasting wird hier gerne verwendet. Das heißt, man kann hier natürlich streamen, recorden und alles andere, was so eine Capture Cast Lösung auch noch tun sollte. Das Gerät ist eine 1HE-Lösung, das heißt, das Gerät wird voraussichtlich nicht mitten im Raum stehen, sondern eher in einem Rack irgendwo draußen. Wenn wir uns die Rückseite ansehen, fällt uns sehr schnell auf, dass wir hier nur zwei Netzwerkports und zwei USB-C-Ports sowie einen I/O und I/O-Port haben. Das heißt, das Gerät wird hier auf jeden Fall über eine Web-Oberfläche gesteuert werden. Der eine oder andere fragt sich jetzt, naja, wie bekomme ich denn meine Kameras und wie bekomme ich denn jetzt meinen Ton und Zuspieler und dergleichen auf dieses Gerät oder auf so eine Lösung? Das ist sehr leicht beantwortet dadurch, dass NewTek ja bekannt ist mit seinem NDI Codec/Protokoll, können wir das natürlich auch einsetzen. Das heißt, mit dem letzten Update sind ja bei den NDI 5 Tools ja einige Sachen dazugekommen. Unter anderem, was für diese Geschichte natürlich praktisch ist, ist das Screen Capture, womit ich mir meine ganze GPU grabben kann, aber sämtliche andere NDI-Apps funktionieren natürlich in diesem Workflow sehr, sehr gut. Das ist auch dafür ausgelegt. Das heißt, ich mache nichts anderes als ich capture mir die GPU von verschiedenen Studenten im Raum und führe die über Netzwerk in die CaptureCast-Lösung rein. Mein Kollege, der Justin McCulloch, der kommt gerade rein via Teams, der wird Ihnen auf jeden Fall noch mehr zu dieser Lösung erzählen. Es gilt auf jeden Fall zu beachten, dass dieses Gerät über über ein Webinterface zu steuern ist. Sicherheitstechnisch sieht das Ganze natürlich so aus, dass ich mir diese NDI-Sources am besten gruppiere, mir verschiedene Räume schaffe und die dann in diesem Gerät aufrufen kann. Der eine oder andere kennt ja solche Capture-Casts beziehungsweise solche Lecture Capture, Verzeihung, Lösungen von anderen Firmen. Jedoch kommt hier dieser NDI-Workflow zu tragen. Was natürlich bei dieser Sache sehr, sehr praktisch ist, dass wir natürlich mit diesem NDI-Protokoll bestehende Netzwerke nutzen können, beziehungsweise ganz leicht auch ein neues entweder VLAN installieren können oder ganz einfach eine neue Netzwerkleitung ziehen. Also das ist wesentlich weniger Aufwand, als ich würde jetzt jeden mit Kameras und Mikrofonen ausstatten. So, jetzt schauen wir mal ganz kurz, ob der Kollege schon da ist. So, Justin, bist du schon da, mein Freund? Alles klar, da ist er auch schon. So. Alles klar. Hallo Justin.
Thank you, Matthias. is Justin McCutcheon. I'm a product manager at NewTek, and today I'm going to be talking about a product called CaptureCast. So let me start by sharing my screen here. I'm going to disable my webcam, and you should be seeing the screen now. So let's go ahead and kick things off. I'd like to kick things off with a quick open statement. I wouldn't say it's a mission statement, but from a product perspective and a product story, definitely is a statement that describes what the product is and what it aims to be. CaptureCast empowers schools and institutes with the next generation teaching and learning video tools to auto-drive the end-to-end classroom production needs, all while delivering highly engaging and immersive multi-perspective video teaching experience for remote learners. The video is then enhanced with smart metadata to enable quick and rapid search and discovery of content within the video. And it's all nicely housed and available in a HTML5 playout directly in the school's learning environment or management system. So to put it short, what we do for classrooms is we do provide live recording. So the word lecture capture at its root means the class from beginning to end is recorded. That could mean one source, or it could mean many sources depending on the classroom and the teaching. From simple recording of a camera and a screen all the way to medical simulation where you might be using multiple cameras and multiple medical devices. CaptureCast definitely fits that mold to be able to capture any size or style of classroom. But we do provide live recording services. We do restream that content to multiple providers via web broadcast. So getting it into platforms like Panopto, Kaltura for live streaming, as well as YouTube, Facebook Live, or your own streaming server. CaptureCast is able to create a unique streaming workflow into it. As I mentioned, we do enrich media. That is a big part of the solution. So as we're recording and streaming, we're also analyzing and enriching the media, because we do know we need to distribute it somewhere, and it needs to be able to be played out somewhere in a way to where students could quickly search and engage and find the media and parts of the media. Just to give a quick overview of what CaptureCast is, if we start with the left side, we look at the classroom. That could be as simple as the teacher's computer to maybe a camera in the back, 2 cameras in the back. They might have a digital whiteboard or even a physical blackboard. From STEM classes using document cameras or digital microscopes, phones and other devices that are outputting video. CaptureCast creates what's called, what I like to call a virtual recording and streaming room. And within that room you have multiple devices that are outputting NDI on an ongoing basis that we could capture and do one or many input recordings and live streams on a on-demand or scheduled basis. As it kind of automates that classroom technology experience and brings everything together, each teacher and each course has its own unique workflow, and then that's put into a process where it's distributed to some type of video or on-demand system, such as Kaltura, Panopto, YouTube, AWS, or even your own server. And same thing with the live server, live streaming service. And then hooks into the learning management system, which is played out for students. So in an overall arching perspective of a higher education workflow from end to end, we definitely produce the content, we produce the metadata. It lives within some type of video playout system, which is then re-embedded into a learning management system page for video playout. So we are at the beginning, we are at the end, but from a learning management perspective and some other buzzwords you might hear, that's how we fit into the picture. CaptureCast is set to scale. As I mentioned before, each room is looked at as a virtual room, and in that virtual room you could have one or many devices. In that room it could have its own schedule, it could have its own encoding needs, it could have its own distribution, its own metadata extraction and analysis. And that's put together into a media package that's going to be delivered for a teacher for some type of course. So CaptureCast will look at these rooms and are able to run them in a concurrent basis. But depending on your recording schedule and how often you use them, each box can connect to an infinite amount of these virtual rooms. The limit is really how many it could record in a concurrent fashion, and that's where you start to stack CaptureCast up. But it scales very easily. In many cases, it could record 3 concurrently, and in some cases where the school or the building has a set number of rooms that are only used in an ongoing basis, you basically scale CaptureCast to that point, and have the scheduling and the workflow be unique to that room but live under one or many different devices. So let me go straight into the demonstration here real quick. Alright, so we're looking at a live box here, so if anything happens, it happens, but it's part of a live demo. So this is just a demonstration that I guess someone is running, but let's start with what I think is the most important part. This is a device that's on the network. It does have multiple inputs coming into it, some audio inputs, it has some video inputs. The state of it right now is obviously it's recording. I could stop it, I could pause it, I could live preview it. The dashboard gives you kind of just a snapshot of what's coming up, what's happened, and a little bit of network information. But really where the most fundamental piece of CaptureCast comes into place is that you're able to create what we call workflow templates. So in here we have a handful, but we'll start to look at 121A, B, and C. So these are different rooms that are in a particular building. Within those rooms, we've mapped which sources we need to capture from. We've specified how we want them encoded. We've specified that it is stored locally, but it also uploads to Panopto. This one uploads to Kaltura, but also live streams to Kaltura. So you're telling the template what you want to record and what you want to stream to. It includes some other screens for publishing and destination. But that now becomes a template that should be referenced at, or can be referenced at any time. So if you think of CaptureCast and this was in a building with multiple rooms, you might have room 121A is used by the same faculty member, the same instructor 6 times a day. Maybe he is a morning teacher. In the afternoon, Jane Doe, the professor, comes in and she has a different teaching arrangement, a different recording need, different streaming need, different destination needs. I can make a duplicate of that particular room and have a unique setup for that particular professor. At the end of the day, it's going to look at the room as a IP-based room, and these workflows are just custom recording and streaming needs for that particular room. So there could be many templates here, there could be a few. Let me jump through it real fast so you can kind of see it. This is part of an older build, so we're seeing baseband inputs, but if there was, this one has 4 inputs, but the box will come with 6 HX as well as 8 NDI inputs. Video inputs, you could have as many as you want in here and create as many templates for as many rooms as you want. Your limit is just really concurrency. So in this particular setup, I might say I want the document camera and my presentation recorded. I want to be able to make a unique canvas. This was already in here since I duplicated it, but let me add a document camera. So this becomes kind of a picture-in-picture. Let's actually give it a proper size. Put it in the corner. If I want to add an image or a text overlay, I can. This becomes a third encode because we told the system we want 2 inputs recorded and streamed. We also want them, and again, those are individually encoded, so one could be 720, one could be 1080. They're still kept in synchronization for playback. Synchronization is a big part of the framework for CaptureCast. Now that I've decided what type of mix I want to put together with it in composite, I could upload it to a lot of different areas. This one is Kaltura. It could be OpenCast. It could be Panopto. Each of them have their own configuration. They have their drop points and different metadata information that's appended to them, and the box now becomes kind of a publishing agent and will capture everything in the room, package it, put the right metadata in it, send it to these platforms, and they can kind of take that multi-perspective and metadata that we've created into the playout experience. And again, all of this is recorded locally. I might also want to live stream it, so while it's recording, I could say upload to Kaltura, and again, it's configuration information, some streaming endpoints, but again, this template then becomes a streaming creation point for production to create and pass a stream into, so that becomes an embedded live player somewhere within the Kaltura ecosystem. Or you might want to upload it just to your own in-house live streaming server. So again, you create multiple encodes. That's all put together in a media package that's has multi-perspective switching playback into it. But you're defining where you want to record and upload it to, and where you need to stream it to, which becomes part of that setting. I won't get into enrichment, but since this is PowerPoint, I could show a real quick piece of it. I can enable it for stream configuration to have that particular video stream index the slides, so we know when the speaker moved from slide 8 to slide 9 to slide 10 at a certain time point. We grab images of that slide, we are able to make OCR of it, and that all becomes time-coded metadata that lives with that particular stream for that screen in this lecture. So just something we do to kind of enhance the presentational content that comes through in real time. And then we could save this out. I won't save it, but then it becomes a template that can be run at really any time. Templates run in two ways. You can do it on demand through a Crestron screen that has simple start and stop. The dashboard I showed you is never really used, but you can start and stop it from there. In most cases, a school will either have a schedule or want to connect it to a scheduling system. And so you can easily import via URL or a file, iCal file or a URL that's formatted for calendar format. We're able to pick up the reoccurring events. You could take that event, apply it to a template, and it will auto-create a schedule for the entire semester. You could individually go in and create a one-time event or a back-to-back event. And then, of course, through the API, we could easily create, modify, delete, and do it on the fly, as well as on a synchronization basis with third-party scheduling systems. So a very robust, a very flexible recording component that ties into templates, which allows you to run one or many rooms in many flavors, which is really great for large-scale deployments where each classroom could be a bit different, used on different days, allowing you to use one box to cover multiple rooms, saving you a nice size on a footprint from a room-to-room solution. All content is loaded locally, or I should say stored locally, and the video players will load up and play the content locally. You can edit it. You could have basically speech to text ran on it and have video search capability for spoken word. You could download the media. You can inspect the media. You could re-upload it to YouTube, Kaltura, Facebook, Panopto, anyone that you care to publish to. Again, it stores it locally. You have ways to kind of auto-purge it over time. But if the content needs to stay local and you need to review it before uploading, you do have that capability of making it happen. So that is the platform in a nutshell. I won't go too deep. There are some other management tools for managing multiple boxes across the network. So if you have 10 or 20 of these, there's better group management tool and functionality that's built into it. But again, it scales with NDI. It looks at each of these rooms as a virtual input to do these recording and streaming workflow commands on demand or on a schedule base. So that's it for my quick overview and my example of everything. Let me go back real quick. I do want to mention before I close out, the system has been vetted and used in many circumstances now where room control, whether it's Crestron, AMX, or even a Stream Deck to start, stop, for us to even give back information like here's the thumbnail, the elapsed time, status. There could be a very elegant or very simple push the red button integration with these room control systems. All of them are very highly integrated with Panopto Kaltura. They deserve their own webinar. We work with their calendaring systems. We do multi-source together. We do metadata integration together. Both systems talk together on an ongoing basis. So we have very advanced integrations with Panopto, Kaltura, and even OpenCast, which is free. It's open source. But we do work with their playback system as well as their scheduling system as well. And everything else is REST API. So if they're trying to retrofit CaptureCast in a situation and NDI is kind of the way to go, but scheduling, workflows, metadata monitoring, there's something that out of the box the system doesn't do. We have that all exposed through API, so it's very simple to make schedules on demand, create templates on demand, and assign sources on demand, inject metadata on demand, as well as pull and create your own monitoring feeds with it. So very highly configurable product. So that is it for the presentation. I try to keep this pretty quick, try to keep it to 20 minutes, but CaptureCast is a very deep product. Think of it as a workflow engine that's highly configurable, highly flexible, works with all kinds of scheduling systems, SaaS scheduling systems, homegrown systems through using, Microsoft Exchange to Outlook to Gmail to just being having its own ad hoc control system for creating and modifying events. And it's powered by NDI, so we're capturing everything in HD. Most of the distribution needs are 1080-30, and we're able to capture that from a multi-perspective, capture everything in the room and create an experience as if they were the remote learner was sitting live in the classroom, but on demand after the event has happened. So we make live events and great educational shows happen, and there's a lot more to it. So I encourage everyone to reach out for more information. Back to you. Bye.
Thank you, Justin. Na, das war ja sehr, sehr aufschlussreich. Also was wir jetzt natürlich von dieser Präsentation mitnehmen können, ist, dass diese Kiste sozusagen sehr, sehr modular ist. Also nicht nur die Integration von Kaltura und Panopto, sondern es hat natürlich auch die grafischen Möglichkeiten, die jetzt beispielsweise ein TriCaster mitbringt im Kleinen. Das heißt, ich kann mir natürlich die Dokumentenkamera, die der Kollege vorher gezeigt hat, genauso alleine streamen, genauso alleine recorden, kann es aber auch in Picture-in-Picture einbinden. Die Steuerung via Crestron und AMX ist hier auch möglich. Das heißt, man kann hier das gut in die Raumsteuerung einbinden und kann hier eine Lösung schaffen, wo der Vortragende den Raum nur aufdrehen muss. Verzeihung, ich muss da nur grafisch ein bisschen was anpassen. Wie Sie sehen, ist hier alles live. Wir verstecken nichts. Also, abschließend möchte ich mich noch bedanken für die Aufmerksamkeit. Ich hoffe, dieses Produkt hat Ihr Interesse geweckt. Falls ich da mehr dazu tun kann, beziehungsweise können wir da natürlich auch One-to-One-Demos veranstalten. Für jeden, der das gerne sehen möchte, dazu immer gerne. Und unsere Kontaktdaten haben Sie ja. Falls nicht, ist ganz leicht zu finden. Also alle nochmal vielen Dank fürs Zusehen und einen schönen Tag. Das war es erstmal von unserer Seite.